See, the thing is, if that boy just would have sat at his desk and never told you he liked you, you never would have known it. Right? He had to let you know some way. He wanted to do what? You told me we were born in two different places. So she was born in New Jersey. I was born in Puerto Rico, but raised in Miami. So the boys that carried her books were not me. But I can't do nothing about that. But they carried her books. So they just didn't keep it to themselves. They had to let Dorothy know that they liked her. That was their way of showing, I liked you. They carried her books. They carried her books, so Dorothy didn't have to carry her books. That was the way they manifested how they cared, was carrying the books. And then later on, you graduate the flowers or candy or whatever the case is, or the little Valentine's Day treats that the kids give, but they can give it to the whole class because they're just being friendly. But then maybe they give Susan or Mary or Dorothy that little extra that no one else got, right? So you got something different than anybody else got. And that's how that boy showed you that he cared. It's the same thing. Trust means that you do something beyond just saying the words. You trust by your words, you have faith, but then your faith makes you act out what you believe. Amen? Amen. Jesus didn't just say he loved us. He showed us he loved us. Amen? They're not enemies of each other. Faith and work or faith and action are not opposed to each other. Your faith should make you act out in certain ways. Maybe that's why the husband always said, I didn't think I really had to tell you I loved you when I was working 40 hours a week. It's 50 hours a week and I work double overtime. But then he said, okay, I love you. Because that's what you needed him to say. So everybody communicates it in different ways. But the point is, they're not opposed to each other. The faith in the heart and the actions that we do, they're not opposed to each other. They should work hand in hand. I believe in God, and I share my faith to my family. I believe in God, and I share my faith to my fellow residents. I believe in God, and I share my faith with the staff members. The two things are not opposed to each other, but they should work hand in hand. So he was telling them, you say you have faith in me, but when the difficult time comes, how do you react? The year of deployment. Trust me when I tell you, I saw a lot of relationships that did not last. And I saw a lot of relationships that were broken when I was over in Iraq. Because the two people had two different agendas. But me and Dorothy and I had the same agenda. And here we are 16 years after I came back from Iraq. As we say, as a metaphor, the proof is in the what? Pudding. The proof is in the pudding. The agenda. Two cannot walk unless relation, but I wonder that sometimes. As a pastor, as a preacher, as an evangelist, I wonder sometimes if God says, "You are? I didn't know it." You cannot be in a relationship with somebody and the other person doesn't know it. I've been asked time and time before by waitresses or waiters. We were sitting in a restaurant and they asked us, "How long have you been married?" And I'll say the time. And they go, "Oh, wow." And then they'll ask, "What is it? What's the secret?" It's a very simple formula. Time plus communication. You didn't know you were going to go to math class this morning. A plus B equals C. Time plus communication equals relationship. Time plus communication. Time plus communication. Time plus communication. Right here. Look at my hands. You know what they symbolize when I'm doing this. Right here. Time plus communication. Whether it's prayer, whether it's singing, whether it's worship, whether it's reading the Bible, time plus communication equals relationship. That's how you know you're in a relationship with somebody. Even though both of our moms live in Florida, we still use this to talk to them. You cannot be in a relationship with somebody if you don't communicate. Time plus communication. So who do we understand? Do we understand who Jesus is? That's the question they didn't understand when they were on the boat. They said, "What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the waves obey him?" They were just beginning to understand who Jesus is. He's the Messiah. That's where the cross, that's where grace, that's where forgiveness comes from. And as we get into next month, and especially April, we're going to be talking about that, who Jesus is, understanding. But like I said before, when they were in the midst of the storm, they didn't understand who Jesus was. And like I said before, you hear me say it 100 times over, you cannot be in a relationship with somebody and they not know it. The person that you are in a relationship with should know that you are in a relationship with them. There is no doubt about it. I'm only going to say her name to make a point. There's no doubt about it that I would give my right arm or my left or both for Gladys Rodriguez. None whatsoever. Cannot guess if you're in a relationship with somebody. And the same goes for Dorothy Rosa. And the Gladys Rodriguez is my mom, in case you didn't know. Cannot know if you're in a relationship with somebody and they not know it. And we speak to our daughter by the use of the same device. When we go visit them, cannot. Time and communication. learn to spend time with Jesus and communicate with Jesus. It's the same thing with a husband and wife. It's the same thing with friends here at Briarwood and staff members. Time and communication. So the winds and the waves came, but they learned that Inuit and Epistus, that faith, whether it's Hebrew or Greek, both require not just words, but the action to go with it. Because if you love somebody, you're going to show it. I don't go to heaven because of what I do. I can preach till the cows come home. I'm not going to heaven because I preach or we help with the mission of hope. That's not the point. The point is that I show what's on the inside of me by what I do. And it's the same thing for Dorothy Rosa here next to me. My words and my action match up with this phrase for what we celebrate tomorrow. I love you. And then the words and the actions match together. Amen? Amen. So we're going to get ready to pray as my wife comes. So just remember that what I told you about the Galilean boat and about Jesus and trust in him and that relationship, and that no matter what we see on the news, don't let that control you. Don't let the information that you get from one of these control you. Put your hope